All right, we're going to take a look at similarity and transformations at the same time. So the questions are always going to be, what happened from this triangle to this triangle? Now, the reason I know it started at this triangle is that this has no prime in it. You see this has prime? That means this is original and this is something that happened. So we can see that it's gotten bigger, which means it's a dilation, and it's also moved. Now, the way IXL has set it up, it's always going to be translation first and then the scale factor. But when you get a question, it's not necessarily in that order, and order matters, okay? So sometimes you'd have to make it bigger here and then move it. So you'd have to check which one it is. So since they tell us the order, so translation, how did point D, or you can pick any point at all, how did point D move to D prime? So it moved right and then it moved up. So if you're moving right, is that positive or negative? It's going to be positive. So you're going to say it's going to be x plus, and then how many did it move? So it moved from -8 to 0. You can count the boxes, but obviously -8 to 0 is 8 spaces. And then on the y, it moved up. Is up positive or negative? It's positive. So positive, and how many? 2. Now, you have moved this small triangle here. So if you're not going to actually need to sketch it, but I'm going to sketch it for you. That's where the triangle is now. You've moved it 8 right, up 2. Now you need to make it bigger. So now it's going to go from, if this is B, so this is like, let's call it double prime since prime is used, and C double prime. So B is going to go from there to this big. Now, lots of ways that you could do this. The one that I like to do is just simply, I just count how many x, I count the slope, rise over run, okay? So from B to D is 2, 2. All right, so it's gone 2, 2. Now the new one is from B to 10 is 10, because it's 10 up. And then from -10 to 0, it's also 10. So it's gone from being, the slope is 2, 2 to now 10, 10. So what did I do to it to get from 2 to 10? I multiplied it by 5. So now this is 5 times bigger. So the scale factor, or the dilation, is going to be 5. Now, if you have a horizontal line, it makes it a lot easier. I just did it because sometimes it's not always horizontal, and I don't want to get in the habit of doing it. But a horizontal line or a vertical line is just, you count the boxes. So it went from -10 to 0, that's 10, then from 0 to 5, so this whole thing is 15. And the original started off as 3. So let's check our scale factor. We said it got bigger by 5, so 3 times 5 is 15. But you don't always have this horizontal or vertical line, so I'm always going to do this slope. All right, so again, the question is, how did I go? Which one's my old triangle, which one's my new triangle? So the ones with prime is always going to be my new triangle. So this is my new triangle, this is my old triangle. So what did I do? I moved it and I made it bigger. So how did I move it? So let's pick a point H. How did I move it there? It went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 2. So it went right 6, so that's x plus 6. And then it went up 2, so that's going to be y plus 2. And then once I've moved it, how did it get bigger? So you see, this is a prime example of there's no horizontal or vertical. So I picked the shortest side. So from H to I, this was the original. It was up 1. So this was 1 and 3. Okay, so do that. Now the new from I to H is 2 and 6. So what happened to the numbers? It went from 1 to 2 and 3 to 6. So I just multiplied it by 2. So my scale factor is 2, because 1 times 2 is 2 and 3 times 2 is 6. Now, if they give you these questions without drawing it for you, all you need to do is plot it, and then you can see what it is. So what's my old one? My old one is this one, because it has no prime. My new one is this, because it has a prime. And then what am I doing? It looks like it got bigger and it's moved, okay? So translation first, it's gone 1 right and 3 up. So 1 right and 3 up. So that's going to be x plus 1 and y plus 3. 1 right and 3 up. And then once it's there, how big did it get? So again, pick the shortest side. So I'm going to pick SU. So that's 3 and 4. So 3 and 4. And then it became 6 and 8. And again, you can just count the boxes, but I use the numbers from 6 to 0 is 6, and then from negative 8 to 0 is 8. So 3 to 6, what did I do? Multiplied it by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So my scale factor is 2. All right, so again, how did I move my triangle? So what's the original one? This is the original one because it has no prime. And then it comes to this one because it has a prime. And then again, the order matters. So sometimes I know that it's gotten bigger and it's moved, but sometimes it gets bigger before it moves. But in this case, I know it moves first and then it gets bigger because they give me the order here. Okay, so order matters. All right, so how do I get from Q to Q prime? I went right 1 and down 6. So right 1 and down 6. So how do I say that? X plus 1, right 1, and then y minus 6, down 6. Then once I moved it here, I made it bigger, right? So pick a slope. And again, the horizontal line is the easiest way to do it, but I'm always going to do it on slope because I want you to get used to it. Pick the shortest side, which is QR, and that's going to be 2 and 1. Okay, so you do kind of like rise over run. All right, 2 and 1, and now see what happened to the same line. So Q prime and R prime, and you want to know how tall is that. That's going to be 8 because it goes from 8 to 0. And then across it's going to be 4 because it goes from 4 to 0. So now what happened? How do I get from 2 to 8 and 1 to 4? I multiplied by 4 because if I multiply 1 times 4 is 4 and 2 times 4 is 8. So that means my scale factor is 4. So really in these kind of questions, you're always asking yourself, where did I start? Where did I end up? And how did I do that? So you have to kind of figure out which transformations that you did in order to get that done. And that's pretty much all it is.